I was seriously thinking I could cut myself a break and not actually do this every single day. It's almost 11 at night. I'm so exhausted. It's been such a long day. And all kinds of crazy great things have been happening. Um, and gosh, where to start? Um, yeah, just I had an amazing conversation this afternoon. That was after I took this big giant walk with the dogs in the woods and found a new path and just really enjoyed making new trails, finding new places. Um, I went to look at a house in Montauk that I guess I'll be installing a bunch of art in. And it was a really beautiful place that was just, I don't know, it was just really nice to be in a brand new house. There was no one around. It's completely empty. It's about to be for sale. Um, and yeah, Annette's going to be staging it. Um, so of course it'll look amazing when it's done. And then because it's Earth Day, I wanted to go have a look at the ocean. Well, I was in Montauk, so I was going to go have a look at the ocean anyway. Um, and I ended up just, oh, it was just so spectacularly beautiful. And I ended up taking all kinds of photos and videos, and I guess I posted some of those for Earth Day. It was also just nice to take a long drive. I mean, really, I don't think I've used one tank of gas in the last month. That's extraordinary. Usually it's maybe a tank of gas a week. Um, so it was nice to take a long drive and to think and to clear my head a little. And then this other thing happened today that was so extraordinary. A friend mentioned it to me, so I discovered that the article I wrote on Saturday got published. Um, and I think it's going to be in three media outlets. They're all part of one group. So it's called the, I don't know, News Press or Hampton's Press Agents. I don't know what it's called. I sent it to the Sag Harbor Express, and the Southampton Press and the East Hampton Press published it today, which was pretty exciting because really I started this as a almost a Facebook post, and then it just turned into this thing that I was writing all day, and by the end of the day I was really happy with it. So I thought this would be a good thing to send to the newspaper, like a little, I don't know, local story. So I'm actually going to read that. Uh, Not because you can't find it, it's out there in the press, but because it's all about Sidney, who's currently doing the dishes or pretending to do the dishes while he reads his Facebook on his phone. um, but he always says he likes to listen to me read, and he likes my writing. And actually, the first person to comment when I posted this was my son, who said, "Nice article, you should write more," which was lovely. So I should write more. I'm much better at writing than I am at this thing, but I always like to do the thing that's hard. So that's why I do it. Okay, I am going to find this article and I'll just read it from the screen here, just so that it's out there with me reading it. Sidney Brito is a Brazilian-born American citizen who recently celebrated his 60th birthday. He is scheduled to run his 50th marathon this November in New York City, the 50th anniversary of that event. It marks an historic achievement for this Ironman and runner, a former soccer enthusiast who fell from a cliff in Rio de Janeiro at 19, broke both his legs, and had a doctor tell him he would never walk again. At the age of 27, Sidney ran his first race at the New York City Marathon. At 30, he returned for a visit to Brazil and gave the medal to that same doctor. "This is for you," he told the doctor, "to never tell anyone they cannot do something, especially a 19-year-old boy coming to you for help." Being fit and helping others feel better and stronger from the inside out isn't just his motto, it's his entire way of life. His core strength goes beyond his physical body, and today he's taken up the challenge to push that inner strength even further. Before the stay-at-home orders for New York became official, Sidney ran a tiny gym connected to manual and sports physical therapy, a rehab facility in our little village of Sag Harbor, just past the bike shop on Bay Street. He taught fitness classes 5 days a week, each attended by a handful of people, primarily women over 60. One of his star students, Nancy, is over 70 and can do better squats than most 40-year-olds. Sidney is not very tech savvy, but something about his Brazilian heritage makes him good at figuring stuff out, fixing things, and working with whatever materials he has. I notice so many of his Brazilian friends are resourceful at bringing discarded items back to life. He knows I dislike baseball caps of all kinds, but Sidney is somewhat famous for the one he wears regularly in class, made by a Brazilian friend, that says, "Get shit done." So about 3 weeks after stay-at-home orders started, he's figured out how to connect his iPad to a spare computer monitor in our basement, and he teaches several fitness classes every day to people around the world. Before his gym closed, he had asked me multiple times to help him understand the Zoom and computer technology he needed to get an online class working. But it seemed like every time he wanted to sit down and do it, I was either too busy or too irritated, until it finally became apparent that we simply could not work together on this. He wasn't going to let my impatience or anything else stop him, so he figured it out on his own. The first remote class started because he noticed his son Jack, who is 15 and living in Ireland, seemed a bit sad and bored. He wanted to help by getting him moving, so he created his first online class for Jack, Jack's mom, and Jack's 6-year-old sister, who always brings her pink water bottle to class. A private family fitness class was born out of love and concern for his son. Sidney lived in Ireland for 16 years, running entire gyms, spin and Pilates classes, and more. As word is spreading, some old clients from the Dublin area are asking about creating new online classes. Suddenly, it doesn't matter that he left the area 3 years ago. Now, hold on. Next, he wanted to get his ladies from the Sag Harbor gym back into action. Now that he figured out Zoom on his end, he had to help 5 or 6 technology-challenged women to understand Zoom on their side, some with iPads, some with computers, others with only phones. All of these women are from the area, so they know him personally, and everyone has been patient helping everyone else get online. I have overheard the entire group waiting patiently to help just one person figure out her camera or the mute settings or how to get the screen view into speaker mode. Sometimes I jump in to offer tech support since I have been using Zoom regularly for a couple years now. I feel a little badly that I wasn't more helpful to Sidney when he asked. The next group he offered to coach included my son, Alex Lawson, and some of his former Ross school friends, who are now scattered in a few places. Alex is in Boston wishing he could be here surfing. Instead, he's been finishing his school year in an apartment with his friends, 2 Northeastern students who sometimes join him in the living room for a workout. Alex's friend Kai connects from Amagansett, and Jared lives a few blocks away from our house in Sag Harbor. Their friends, Jake and Alex, join in from Wainscott. Together, it's usually 5 or 6 21-year-olds who never gather before noon. Sidney always feels great after their class and tells me how he kicked their butts. He's quite proud of the fact that none of them can keep up with him. Recently, he added another class. This one he teaches in Portuguese to a group of his friends in Brazil who are all stuck inside apartments, unable to go out and exercise. Most are in his hometown of Rio, but other friends have joined from Sao Paulo and Porto Alegre. Like most of his students right now, they don't have money to pay him. Some pay if they can, but so many are struggling to survive physically and mentally. He knows his students are grateful for the time with him. I am grateful to witness his ability to give so much to people and keep himself challenged and sane at the same time. He said the Brazilians always cry at the end of class because they're overflowing with gratitude while feeling such a physical relief of stress. Last night, when he told me about his Brazilian friends crying at the end of class, I remembered that's one of the reasons I love this Brazilian man so much. His heart is enormous, and he's not afraid to open up and share it. Ask anyone who knows one, and they will tell you that Brazilians are some of the happiest, most fun loving, and joy filled people on the planet. I couldn't agree more. We recently celebrated our 3rd anniversary together, a funny little Tinder success story that you can hear about on my friend Francesca Hoagie's podcast interview about finding love later in life. As a lifelong photographer, I knew I had a gift for finding the beauty and transmitting the energy of a person into a photograph. When I get it right, I can reflect something back to people that makes them feel beautiful. I can show them a best version of themselves, sometimes a version they have yet to step into. Sidney does the same work with a different language and different tools, and the results are sometimes felt even more deeply than anything I can achieve with a photo shoot. For me, Sidney is the perfect metaphor for what so many of us are going through right now. At first, I noticed that his OCD tendencies were going a bit crazy, and I found them irritating. I would cut a lemon to squeeze into a drink, and before I could finish the drink, he had cleaned up the knife and cutting board and put them away. But now he has channeled that extreme energy into something much more powerful and beautiful. Yes, he still cleans all the dishes when I cook, and for that I am the most grateful woman in quarantine. He puts some of that extra energy into coaching exercises, which help people get physically present in their bodies so they feel better and stronger immediately. He helps people move the stress out, which is a great way to allow more calm and love in. In a mere week, he has found much better music for his classes. I listen to the Rocky theme or Michael Jackson songs several times a day as I watch him lead workouts in the tiny little spare room that he converted from my old office before I took over my son's bedroom to his new fitness center. Sometimes he takes the show down to the basement because he knows it's very loud and I like things quiet. Sometimes I take the dogs to the woods so I can have extreme peace and quiet while he works. Sometimes I go downstairs to take photos of him or make a little video because he's doing all kinds of gymnastic magic in just a sliver of space between the piles of clothing I'm sorting out for donation. I haven't joined in, even though it sounds fun. I really am in awe of how he's figured things out, combined them in new ways, used whatever he had or could find, and reached out to people who are hurting or feeling different degrees of frustration and despair during this time. Sidney is that guy who looks at the word impossible and says, I'm possible. 20 years from now, if we are all so lucky to be around, I wonder which event he will remember more. The 50th New York City Marathon or the fitness classes from the basement that helped people get through another day of lockdown during a pandemic. I believe the tiny ripples we are all making now, created out of love, will be felt for many years to come, if not a lifetime. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, when I'm on, I'm on. It's good. Anyway, that was like a little love letter reading to Sidney because he likes it when I read. I don't. I think I sound really monotone and boring, but It's okay. He likes it. And while we were doing this, he washed all the dishes. Amazing. Um, so yeah, I'm just lucky, very lucky. I have an amazing life, full of blessings and amazing people, and I just can't wait to keep sharing them with you because it's just way more fun for me to have a conversation and share my cool people with anyone who needs to hear from them or us. All right, I think I'm going to bed now. Definitely going to bed.